Hey guys, this is Mario with landscapingmoney.com. In this video, what I want to do for you is I want to teach you everything you need to know in order to grow and scale your landscaping business with marketing. Marketing is going to be the key to getting more customers, and it's going to be ultimately the key to your growth and success of your business. So I want to teach you everything from guerrilla marketing to online marketing and all the different possibilities in between, so you don't waste your time on the wrong things, and just so you have a little bit better knowledge when it comes to all these marketing techniques that people are using these days. Now, the first thing that I want to talk to you about is choosing the correct business name. This is something that a lot of people don't consider when starting their business. If you already have your name picked and you've been established for some time, this part isn't for you. This is mainly for the people who are just getting started and maybe they don't know how to choose a business name because it's the first time they've done it. But what I find is that a lot of people use vague business names when they first start because maybe they wanted to go a different way with their business and they didn't want to re-register another one when they came to landscaping. And that's something that I find that hinders a lot of new businesses. They'll give their name a broad name, like for an example, Flores Enterprises or Flores something LLC, and they don't use the correct terminology in the business name. So the way that the internet works is it's based off of keywords. So if somebody is looking for landscaping, they're most likely looking for a business that has the word landscaping in it. Not just for the people that are looking for things, but also to please Google. And the way that things rank is based on who has the closest business name, who's in the perfect category for it. And so that plays a big role when it comes to ranking online, and that's something that we'll cover later on in this video, but I wanted to bring that up now in case you haven't chose a business name. It's a big part of your marketing strategy. So the most basic thing that we can do for marketing is have printed materials such as business cards, flyers, door hangers, etc., right? It's very easy to get these materials printed for you. If this is your first business and you have no idea what to do or where to start, one of the first things you could do is head over to vistaprint.com. You'll see it here on my screen. You just type in Vistaprint and you can click on the first link. Now their website's actually pretty easy to use. They have lots of templates that are already pre-made that you could just take your logo and drop it in, or just drop in the name of your business. If you want to make something more custom, then you can also go to something like fiverr.com. I'll throw it up here on the screen too. You can hire a designer to design you a logo, design your business cards and flyers, all that stuff. We offer those services too, so if that's something that you're interested in, you could always visit landscapingmoney.com for that. But from what I found is Vistaprint is one of the most affordable ways to get these printed materials for you. They do it fairly quickly and they always have like deals going on. Like right now it says up to almost 40% off almost everything on their website. So take advantage of that if you have not created business cards yet. One thing I'll say about printed materials is they really do go a long way. I've had lots of people reach back out to me years after I've given them a business card just because they found it in their wallet or their purse. Take advantage of QR codes when it comes to any of your printed materials. Make sure you generate a QR code. That way the person could be led right to the website just by scanning the QR code, or be led right to your Google My Business profile where they can leave reviews. So these printed materials go both ways, right? For new customers that you're trying to attract, as well as customers you already landed and you just want to generate a review. Now, one thing that I do differently is I create NFC cards for my clients. And what an NFC card is, it's just a digital business card and it can be used in multiple ways. Some people will use the NFC card to link all their social profiles, to link their website, stuff like that. The way that I like to use NFC cards is I like to use them to generate reviews. So after you're done providing your service to a client, you can put them on the spot and you can just tap the NFC card on the client's cell phone. It'll automatically take them to where they need to leave a review, and this will generate a lot more reviews for your business. And as we know, reviews are really helpful for getting new clients. The other way you should be utilizing printed materials is anytime you're doing work in a neighborhood and the neighborhood is someplace where you want to get more work from, have it be just an area that has more money, whatever it is, take some time out of your day, 10, 20 minutes, and hang up door hangers, or go knock on neighbors' doors and just tell them that you're working in the area. And if they're interested in any of your services, you know, you're working for the neighbor across the street, just introduce yourself to that neighborhood. It really does go a long way taking these 10, 20 minutes to go and canvas the area. The last type of printed materials that I want to cover is bandit signs. A lot of people utilize bandit signs, but I think they use them incorrectly. What they end up doing is, I saw one today actually, where they throw up their logo really big, they throw up their service in a small like little area, and then they throw up their phone number at the very bottom where you could barely see it. Make sure you're utilizing the space effectively, because people are driving by. They don't have a whole lot of time to actually read your whole sign. So what I found is making your sign simple, just throwing up whatever the service is as big as you possibly can, and the phone number as big as you possibly can. And then yes, of course, you could add your website or your logo in a smaller font, but it's really important to get your phone number as big as possible and the services you offer in as big as possible. A lot of people, they don't have the time to read a sign that has tiny little words going, 15, 20 miles an hour. It just doesn't make sense. So please make sure that you're utilizing bandit signs the correct way. So sorry, I did actually lie to you. I have one more important piece of printed materials that you could be using, and it's magnets. A lot of people don't use magnets, but what I ended up doing is I ended up creating another set of business cards that were just magnetic. And the reason I did this is I found that a lot of people put magnets on the refrigerator and they don't get lost. Business cards, sometimes they get lost, misplaced, thrown away, whatever. If you give somebody a magnet, they'll always put it on the refrigerator and they'll never forget, who the landscaping company is. They'll have it on the fridge. They'll have your phone number on the fridge. It's just a lot less likely for somebody to actually throw that away versus a business card. The other reason that I utilize magnets is if you ever go into offices, you'll realize that a lot of the people working in offices, have filing cabinets. And one day I was actually out on a sales call trying to get a property management company to sign up with us, and they had a filing cabinet full of all their vendors' magnets on the side of the filing cabinet. And that led me to believe that it's something that they're looking for, just to have a place to throw up the magnet of the company that they work with. That way they don't lose any of that information. And so that's what I ended up doing. I ended up printing all these magnets, taking them to offices or buildings that we wanted to work with, and they would throw up our magnet on the side of a filing cabinet, and it was perfect. So please utilize magnets. They're not that expensive. They're not hard to make, and use them wisely. All right, now I want to get into some of the online marketing stuff. And the very first place that I went to when I started to try and market the business online was Craigslist. And I already know Craigslist is the worst of the worst. But I utilize this in a very specific way. The reason I utilized Craigslist was to get my feet wet. It was to learn how to answer sales calls, to learn how to bid on jobs, not necessarily closing these jobs because they weren't the best clients, but it was my way of gaining experience in the industry and being able to do anything from, like I said, selling over the phone, talking to customers, and then bidding the actual jobs. So please utilize Craigslist if this is like your first time really starting a business and you don't really know what to do in terms of sales, or maybe you just don't have your numbers dialed in quite yet. It's a good way to learn what to do and what not to do. And it's almost free. It's like $5 a post. So it's very low risk for you to start with this versus other forms of marketing that could be more expensive. Once you feel like you've got a good grasp on sales and bidding, then you could utilize some of the services like lead generation services. And what I mean by lead generation is we're typically talking about like Yelp, Thumbtack, Angie's List, those sort of services. Some of them are more prominent in certain areas. For example, Yelp is probably something that's more used in California versus some random state on the East Coast, So if you've never used lead generation services, you're gonna hear from a lot of people that, for example, Angie's List is great. And then you're gonna hear another guy tell you how horrible it is. And then you'll hear about another guy telling you how great Thumbtack is. And then you'll hear vice versa. What I like to tell people is try it for yourself. See if it works in your area. If it doesn't work, you've at least checked it off the list and you've given it a shot. Some of them do work and some of them don't. So I've had horrible luck, for example, with Angie's List. And the reason I did it is because I had a guy tell me that, he was spending $60,000 a year on Angie's List to generate $600,000 in revenue. So I gave it a shot, didn't work for me, but for some reason Thumbtack worked for me. And this is what I mean by just trying it, see how it works for you. Some of them do work sometimes. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is Facebook, okay? And you're gonna hear a lot of people tell you the same thing. Facebook is great, Facebook sucks, Facebook didn't work for me. There are a lot of reasons why Facebook works for people and a lot of reasons why it doesn't work for people. There are so many nuances to advertising on Facebook, and if you don't know them because you're not a marketer, then it's gonna be really difficult for you to figure out why and why not. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna explain to you all the different ways you can market on Facebook and how I would go about utilizing each one. So essentially on Facebook, you're gonna have two different options to advertise. You're gonna have the free version and the paid version, okay? With both of them, you're gonna have to create a Facebook business profile, and it's very simple to do that. Maybe I think I'm gonna cover it in a different video. I will also cover Facebook ads in a different video. This is just kind of an overview of what you can do with Facebook, but if I've released a video on Facebook ads or an in-depth video on Facebook, you'll see it linked somewhere up here or down below. Be sure to check that video out if it interests you. With Facebook, like I said, you're gonna have to create a Facebook business profile, meaning that you're gonna have a profile for your business itself. And once you have that, you're gonna have a couple options here. The free way to advertise your business, and what I would do immediately, because nothing's better than free, is joining Facebook groups in your local community, okay? So when you go to Facebook, you're gonna have a search bar at the top left-hand corner, and I just want you to type whatever city you're in. For example, I live in Oregon. I can type in Oregon City, and what'll happen is it's gonna populate different groups in my area that are relevant to the people that live around me, okay? So like, for example, Oregon City, Oregon right here is a group that has 12,000 members in it, and they're local to my area. These are people that live here that are involved in the community, that wanna know what's going on in their city, and they are part of the community actively, okay? And what's nice about these groups is you can advertise in them. All of them will have different guidelines to how they don't want spam or you to hit people up randomly. They're gonna have rules, okay? But the way that you're gonna advertise your business is you're gonna create a post, once a day, 3 times a week, whatever it is, on your Facebook business profile. And I don't want it to just be a picture of some grass being cut or something that's not gonna attract people. It has to be, either a huge transformation of something you did before and after, or, a job that you're walking somebody through. You can be, showing your face, either in video or picture. I would highly advise you to do video because it gives you the chance to connect with people without knowing them, okay? When people know and trust you through video, it's a lot easier to sell them in person. They will almost always be sold when you talk to them by the time they meet you. And so it's really important to connect with people, and people connect to other people, right? They're not gonna connect to a picture of a lawnmower. They're gonna connect to a face, somebody speaking to them, talking about their locally owned business, for example. So once you've created posts that are engaging with your face, video, you talk to the people in your area, telling them about services you offer, what you're gonna do is you're gonna share that to groups, okay, that are local to you. And what'll end up happening is when you share enough of these posts, over time you're gonna build brand awareness. So anytime somebody's actually looking for a landscaping company, they're gonna tag you. Like for example, in these groups, sometimes I see people saying, who do you guys recommend for landscaping? And then people in the group will start recommending a specific business that pops up a lot. This is how I used to generate between $10,000 and $15,000 worth of brush clearing by posting in these groups. And I'll throw up a picture here on the screen of the exact post that I used to use. It was just a before and after. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a huge issue with blackberry bushes and people don't want to deal with it. So I would just throw up a before and after picture of blackberry bush removal, and every single week we generate between $10,000 and $15,000 just in that specific service. Now, if you think you figured out the formula and you have good posts that are actually bringing people in, the next step would be to utilize the same posts that are gaining traction in these groups and actually throwing some money behind it in ads, okay? What I don't want to see you do is click the boost button on your actual post. So whenever you're on your Facebook business profile, there will always be a little button that says boost post, and it's the most simple way for you to say, here's my money, and then lose it, okay? I know it looks really simple and easy to do. Don't do it. Don't just hit boost post. You have no control really over your ads at that point, you're gonna wanna do it through the ads manager and build out an actual campaign the right way and not just hit the boost post button. And like I said, I'll make an entire video about that and how to run those ads. I think we covered all we need to cover with Facebook. The next thing we need to cover is Google Ads. I'm sure you guys have heard of Google Ads at some point. You're gonna hear a lot of people say how great it is. You're gonna hear a lot of people say how bad it is. Really the biggest determining factor there is, do you know how to run these ads effectively? Google Ads is a very intimidating platform to utilize, but if you do it the right way, you can definitely generate a lot of money, assuming that your ads are set up the right way. And I've made videos in the past about biggest Google Ads mistakes that'll be here or down below, and I'm also going to be releasing a full training on Google Ads. But definitely it is one of the easiest ways to grow this business, and the reason why is because it automatically features your business at the top of Google when somebody's doing a search. So it puts you, next to all your competitors or the people that have been in the area for a long time without having to do SEO. Now, what I tell a lot of people is that Google Ads is a great way to start a business if this is your first year in business, or if you're just struggling. It's a great way to start a business. It's not a great way to scale a business. What happens with Google is that there's a 20-80 split, okay? Not everybody clicks on ads. It's about 20% of the population. The other 80% of the population will click on the Google My Business listings or the websites below that. So you're gonna wanna be in the 80% eventually, and the way that you get to the 80% is having a strong Google My Business profile and having a strong presence on the SEO side of the business where the website ranks organically. And I'm gonna show that to you right now. So if we type in landscaping companies near me, like I said, the way that Google breaks down is like this. This right here are the actual ads. They show up at the top. This right here are the actual Google My Business listings with the reviews. And these are the websites, okay? Now what your goal should be is to rank here and here. Anywhere between the top 4 spots is typically who's getting all the clicks, and anything below that is really not generating any traffic. So make sure that you show up in the maps and make sure you show up in the organic websites. And the way that you do this is by having good SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. It's basically the way that the website ranks by the way that you wrote it and structured it. And I have a full in-depth tutorial on Google SEO, website creation, be somewhere up here or down below. Be sure to check that out. If any of this seems interesting to you and you need more help, I help a lot of people. You can always give me a call at 971-381-7416 or visit landscapingmoney.com. If this video was helpful for you in any way, please give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.